Good evening. Welcome to the City of San Marino Design Review Committee meeting. Today is Wednesday, August 7th, 2019. My name is Kevin Chang, and I will be conducting this evening's meeting. Will you please stand and join me for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Staff, can we have roll call, please?
Committee Member Walker.
I think Hello? Thank you. Staff, roll call, please.
Committee Member Walker.
Here.
Committee Member Bodie.
Here.
Committee Member Wong.
Here.
Chair Chang.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll first go over the procedures for this evening. Each committee member has received plans and has reviewed every item on the agenda and has visited each site. The general order for the hearing will be as follows. The committee will ask staff for any questions they may have. The chair will then ask the applicant or the applicant's representative to comment on the proposal. The hearing will then be open to the public, and the chair will ask for comments for or against the project. In all cases, please come forward, state your name and address. At the conclusion of the public comments, the public hearing will be closed and no further comments from the public will be accepted. The chair will then ask for comments from each of the committee members. If there is no motion for approval or denial, the DRC has the option of continuing the application to a future meeting. In the event of a denial, it is hoped the applicant will have heard comments during the public comment period and during deliberations that will be useful in resubmitting an application. It is also important for the property owner to understand that once a project is approved by the DRC, the drawings become legal documents. If any changes are made to the project subsequent to approval without obtaining proper approval of those changes, the property is in fact breaking the law. There is a risk of having to change the project back to the originally approved design and paying a fine to the City of San Marino equal to the greater 5% of the project valuation or $2,500 and then resubmitting for those changes back to the GRC for approval. It is also important to understand that there is a 15-day appeal period after an action has been taken for the applicant or any interested party to request the Planning Commission to review and act on the case. After all the agenda items have been heard, 2 design review committee members will conduct an open forum. It's at this time residents or the representatives may ask the committee members about their current or future projects related to their property. Committee members can discuss the design with you but cannot comment on how they may vote on the project. At this time, we'll open to public comment. If there's any members of the public that have come forward to speak on non-agendized items, now would be the time. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to our agenda. The first agenda item of the evening, staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 1 is 1510 Delmar Avenue, DRC case number 18-92. This item was continued from the June 5th meeting, and the applicant proposes to construct a single-story addition and exterior modifications to an existing one-story residence. The project is categorically exempt from CEQA. There are no proposed tree removals as part of this project. However, there is an existing oak tree along the southeast corner of the rear yard, and the project would occur outside of the drip line of the tree, but staff recommends that the applicant provide a tree protection plan prior to building permit issuance to ensure the health and safety of the tree throughout construction. At the last meeting, the committee requested a property survey and additional details regarding existing easements on the property that might restrict the property's owner's ability to build on the site. The applicant has provided a property survey included with the plans tonight, and it demonstrates that the easement area associated with the wash behind the property, it wouldn't affect the proposed addition. The addition would maintain 31 feet from the rear property line, which is more than the minimum required setback, and the project would not encroach into the easement area at all. The project is consistent with the existing structure and compatible with the neighborhood, and there are no unreasonable privacy impacts as a result of the addition. So staff is able to make all the findings to support the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff from committee members? Seeing none, is the applicant present? Please come forward and state your name and address.
Good evening, Chairman and committee member. My name is Freeman Han. I'm architect for this project, and this is just a one-story addition at the rear of the house. And exterior modification like change the window because the Delmar is kind of busy the energy conservation. So we replace all the windows and choose the pre-approval from the city on the list. Then the owner worry about the stucco color. Owner feel like the gray blue color look like the house very old. So we paint like the bright earth tone color, very bright. And the rest is the same roofing keep the same existing. And one of the neighbors is concerned about our project. I have some information on the share with the committee. And this is I got it from the city legal neighborhood. Total is 12 neighbors. And I compare the lot size and the square footage for the house. And I'm not the highest. I agree my lot is small, but I didn't maximum out for my addition, only 468. And I still have 308 round, but we think that's enough. So actually compare with, I'm not the highest, I'm the third, compare with the legal neighborhood. The next page is the existing floor plan. You can see the dining room is 11 by 11, and the chimney is enclosed 11 by 11. Kitchen is 8 by 11, 9. It's such a small. 8 by 11, 9 is like 94 square feet, it's very small. And the four bedroom is like 9.5 by 11. And plus the hallway is waste. So I jump in and try to, make and the house is very suitable for the new owner. The owner just bought the property end of last year. They haven't moved in. It's a vacant house now. They want to remodel everything and move in. So I eliminate 3 bedroom and one office, and convert to 2 bedroom and two baths, and just add on 468 for the master bedroom only. So I think I'm pretty reasonable. It's not maximum, it's 1 story, and also I plan. Because the north side we have a hedge, Eugenia along the north property line. So the owner want to provide volunteer additional hedge on the south side. You can see on my plan.
Okay.
So that's about it.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to hear answer the question.
Okay. Are there any questions for the applicant from committee members? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll now open it to public comment. If there's any members of the public who'd like to come forward to speak for or against this project, this would be the time. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment portion and move to our committee member discussions. Committee member Banich.
So this property is, I think, a good example of why the maximum square footage allowable calculation in San Marino is just a hard cutoff, and does not necessarily mean that for every lot or every project it's appropriate to meet that maximum or even get close to that maximum. I think this is also a good project to that confirms sort of why the DRC exists. I hope all the DRC members were able to view into the backyard of this property, because this property backs into a wash, and that effectively makes part of the back of the lot unusable. A prior owner of this house built a retaining wall at the back of the property, and that is now what defines the end of the usable lot, and that limits the amount of usable space on the lot. As far as the findings that we have to make, I can make the finding that there are no unreasonable privacy issues with this proposal, and that the colors and materials are appropriate. But the problem here is really compatibility. In terms of massing, the proposed house would really be inconsistent with the neighborhood at large, and in many ways, it is already an anomaly in the neighborhood. I want to point out as an indicator of massing that this house is already the biggest house by far on the smallest lot from 1550 Del Mar all the way down to 1480 Del Mar. I do appreciate that the applicant provided some two properties that might come close to, let's call it lot coverage or massing that this house does, but in terms of, these are Rubio and Roanoke, and although they are part of a legal neighborhood, for the most part, this house is already an anomaly in how much lot coverage it takes. Certainly from 1550 Del Mar all the way down to 1480 Del Mar. And that is before the proposed additions. It's already the biggest house on the smallest lot. So this really suggests that the home is already built up to what might be its maximum in terms of neighborhood compatibility. But in addition, just viewing the property as it is now, and seeing how cramped the oversized garage already is in relation to the existing home, any addition would not really be compatible with the legal neighborhood, since all of the homes nearby, like nearly all homes in San Marino, are designed with some kind of open backyard space. But the previous additions to this house have already eliminated most backyard space, and there is now just a small concrete area to call a backyard. So to reduce this already small existing space in the backyard by approving the proposed addition would amount to setting a precedent for the kind of lot overbuilding that is quite, that might suit the planning objectives of other cities, but probably doesn't meet the planning objectives of San Marino. So this application is heading for a denial from me, as it is definitely not compatible with the neighborhood.
Thank you. Committee Member Lakon?
I'll have to agree with Vice Chair Batnij. My main concern is that the setback, the property already goes back. It always goes back far enough. I measured from the back of the proposal to the wall, and there's 22 feet. I feel that is not compatible with the legal neighborhood. The property also sits much higher than the neighbor to the south, and I feel that the addition of the master bedroom is not compatible with the house itself, but I also feel that it's too massive because of the height and the lack of any details along the south wall of the addition. And the structure does not respect the established pattern found in the neighborhood. And this sets an undesirable precedent.
Thank you. Committee Member Brody?
Yeah, these homes were built, I believe, post-World War II, and they were very modest homes. And it's a relatively modest neighborhood with 2,000 square foot homes being the common denominator out there. It's questionable whether 2584 is pushing the limit, but I believe it does. I'm not adverse to hearing an increase from where it is at present, but to go up nearly 500 square feet, I think is not compatible.
Thank you very much. And Committee Member Wong?
I share similar concerns. In particular, the backyard is going to be really, really cramped if the current plan is going to go forward. And I also share the view that certain increase could be reasonable, but pushing to the current proposed limit is really a lot, in my opinion.
Thank you very much. I echo similar sentiment with committee members Brody and Wong. I think the home could do a renovation and refresh and updating with increased square footage. However, the proposed square footage and the approach of how that's being done does make the home incompatible with itself and more particularly with the neighborhood. So I would be in favor of some form of a continuance with adjustments to the overall renovation and square footage of addition. However, at this point, I would not be able to support the project in its current form. Do we have a motion?
I'll move to deny DRC 18-92.
Committee Member Brody with the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Committee Member Banish with a second. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Wong,
Yes.
Committee Member Brody,
Yes.
Committee Member Lakon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Batnish,
Yes.
Chair Chang.
No.
Motion carries.
We'll move on to the second agenda item for the evening. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair. The second item is design review case number DRC 18-70, located at 605 Chester Avenue. This is the third hearing for the project. At the last hearing, at the first and the second hearing for the project, the committee did confirm that the addition to the home is not an issue and that it is compatible with the neighborhood and it would retain the current architectural style of the home. The committee was mainly concerned about tree protection plans for the tree near the garage, the new driveway, and another tree in the backyard, which is near the addition area. The committee also wanted additional information and details on the paving material and the garage door and the gate design, which are adjacent to the street side of the property. With your package tonight, there is a tree protection plans provided, and within that plans on pages 4 and 5 are recommendations from the project arborist, which staff is recommending to incorporate as part of the condition of approval should the committee desire to approve the project tonight. The project arborist has determined that the limited scope of construction work that they're proposing, it will not impact the long-term health of the trees in question, and that he is recommending protection around the trees during the construction period, and that it would not have any issue and would not cause future removal to be needed. Staff is able to support the project as proposed, although there are staff has a question about the color of the proposed garage door and the design, which are inconsistent on the plans, and the architect can certainly clarify about that. Outside of that, staff doesn't have any other concern and is supporting the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff from committee members? Seeing none, is the applicant present? Please come forward and state your name and address, please.
Yeah, William Spencer, architect for the Thames, and I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Sure. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I have a question. You included in this proposal like 3 pictures of the garage, and they're a little bit different from each other. Could you give us some clarification on that?
Okay. The applicant wishes to keep it quiet to a natural finish wood, so it's a simplistic door. Another sketch should have been this week.
Which sketch should be in there?
There's a copy of the door front.
Yeah, just to be precise, I'm wondering about some of them have windows and some of them don't.
So, on the proposed new garage door, there's 3 images. Which specific image?
The one at the top.
This image right here?
Right,
That's what the homeowners are proposing.
right.
And the color?
Natural wood, that would be kind of a medium natural, a little stained. Yeah.
Did you bring a color picture that we can see what color you're talking about, or a color of a stain, something like anything like that?
I would say a light mahogany. red light.
Are there any further questions for the applicant regarding the project, committee members? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll now open it to public comment. Is there any members of the public like to come forward to speak for or against this project or about the project? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment and move to our committee member discussion. Committee member Wong.
Thank you. I remember in the last hearing, we had some proposals to asking the applicant to consider bringing some samples or catalogs so that kind of get easy understanding also for the public. Based on what is attached here, it is not as easy to understand as based on your verbal description on the color and the look. And there's also a question whether there will be the texture and all those stuff because it's public facing. So in my view, it will be really helpful if a catalog or sample can be provided.
Thank you. Committee member Adish.
Yeah, I would like a little more clarification on the garage. If this is continued, I think that the committee, well, speaking for myself, I would like to have a clearer picture of exactly what the garage will look like. So I understand from you that you are proposing the top picture of what you've given us in this set of plans. So does that mean that it will be this kind of, the wood will be, it looks like there's two columns, if you will, of wood that are kind of side by side, and you're proposing a light mahogany, but is that what you mean? Can we see a picture of what it would look like? Can we get a color of a stain? I don't know, just more details so we know what it would look like. I guess you're saying that it would not have any windows, so that should be specified as well. Just to be a little more specific so we know what we're approving and we know what will be, what will actually be up there. As far as the wall, I just want to clarify that it would be stucco finished.
The
Okay.
block wall.
The block wall would be stucco finished, right? And I would, okay, to match the house, yes, I believe that was specified on the plans, thank you. I would like to see the wall drop down to 5 feet, just so it avoids the kind of look of a compound. I understand that there's a busy street next to you, but I think 5 feet is an appropriate sound barrier while still allowing, not creating the look of a compound, if you will. And we'll still give the sound barrier that the applicants are looking for. And I would also want to specify, just as you've indicated in your plans, that you plan to plant shrubbery around the block wall. And that the arborist recommendations would be followed. So that's what I would like to see next time you come if this is continued. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee member Lakon.
Thank you. I actually could support this project. I wanted to know more about the door. I think that it would be nice to see a sample of it. But I could approve the project.
Thank you. Committee member Brody.
Yeah, my thought is that I agree with the thoughts of Krista on this one. I could support it. I wasn't here for the July meeting, and certainly it's necessary to condition this on the arborist report that it be followed, and that you do have a tree protection plan, this material to this approval. And I think some of the other matters perhaps can be handled with a condition rather than have the applicant come back. I think we're almost there.
Thank you very much. I'm in agreement with the committee members Lakon and Brody. I think the project can be conditioned. Specific to what, now with clarification of what the garage door is proposed is, I think no matter what shade of stain that proposed garage door may be, it's a little bit too contemporary for the traditional style of a home. So I don't think it's a suitable garage. I think with the condition that with staff review of a submitted garage that is consistent with the style of the home and the neighborhood, that could be approved. However, specifically what's proposed, I would object to that. I would not be able to approve of that specific design in any form. Otherwise, with all other matters related to the project, IDEA will support as submitted. Do we have a motion?
I guess, a motion to approve DRC case number 18-73, to approve the project as proposed with the condition that staff will review the garage door in a more traditional style.
Thank you. Do we have
We have just one other addition to that, condition that the tree protection plan be adopted and incorporated in the motion.
And to adopt the tree preservation ordinance.
Tree protection plan.
Thank you.
Or, I don't know, words in anyone's mouth, is that what you?
That's correct, tree protection plan.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Committee member Brody with the second. Roll call, please.
Committee member Wong,
Yes.
Committee member Brody,
Yes.
Committee member Lakon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Batney,
Yes.
Chair Chay,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the third item on the agenda. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair. This is design review case number DRC 19-35 located at 1701 Warwick Road. The property is currently undergoing addition and a new garage project that was previously approved by the DRC in 2017. And during the construction process, the crew was cleaning up the overgrown ivy on the side yard walls. And as it turned out, the ivy was actually holding up the walls. So after removal of the overgrown planting, the wall came apart, and the applicant is now requesting to construct a similar wall along the side yard that wraps around the property and providing also a driveway gate. In the immediate neighborhood, staff was able to find similar walls along the side yard adjacent to Huntington Drive and also driveway gates. But some of the driveway gates are more recessed than the distance that the applicant is proposing. So staff is requesting that the committee consider a deeper recess for the driveway gate, perhaps a 15 feet recess, which is similar to the immediate west neighbor's gate. Outside of that, staff does not see any other issue and is able to make all the findings for the project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff from committee members?
Yes, I think it's specified that you're recommending a 20-foot setback for the gate, or is it changing that?
Correct. In the written report, staff did not take into consideration of the distance from the 20-foot setback recommendation to the actual location of the extension of the building that's going on now and the new garage. So 15 feet will provide sufficient room for between the distance between the gate and the addition of the new garage.
Right.
Are there any further questions for staff from committee members? Seeing none, is the applicant present? Please state your name and address.
Mike Drake, 515 Clara Avenue, Glendora, California.
Great. Could you just briefly describe the changes or the project?
She stated, I guess you guys approved the wall 2 years ago to add 2 blocks to it. When we pulled the ivy off, between the ivy and the tree, it destroyed the wall, so it was basically falling over. So all we're planning on doing, as the drawing shows, is to put it back exactly where it was. Even the gate is exactly where it was. I've got root protection that I've done many times in the past, where we'll put aluminum foil with tar on it, which will keep the roots from going underneath the wall again. Roots come to it and then they go away, but it won't hurt the tree at all. We're gonna paint it the same as the house, the same as it was approved 2 years ago. And then she's putting ivy back, which will eventually take over the wall. But the paint is just for the time being to make it look nice.
All right. Are there any questions for the applicant?
Oh, sorry, just one other thing.
Oh, sorry.
You're talking about 20 foot farther back into the property?
15.
Okay, 15. Okay, that puts the gate in the middle of the garage.
The plan shows that the garage
Well, it's not gonna be exactly in the garage, but it'll be right back by the garage, which means you're gonna make a turn and make a turn right into the garage. This property being on where it's at, I'm sure you've all seen it, it doesn't really lend to that. I mean, we'll do what you want, but I think you'll find that it's not gonna look right.
Yeah, I'm the homeowner, and I'm really confused about the...
Can you please come forward? Thank you. Can you please state your name and address?
I'm Ella Pfeiffer. I'm currently living at 1855 Twin Palms Drive while the house is under construction.
And your comment was?
I'm confused about, you're saying we're gonna, okay, I'm completely confused. So we have the wall surrounding the property, but is the gate supposed to be set further into the property? Are you saying it's gonna be 15 feet from the wall?
So staff, could you please clarify specifically what the recommendation from staff would be?
So staff is recommending that the new gate be 15 feet away from the property line. As proposed, the gate is roughly 18 inches from the property line, I believe. Staff find that if the gate is at that location, a vehicle waiting to enter the property or accessing the gate would be essentially parking on the sidewalk, disrupting pedestrian traffic. And potentially part of the vehicle may be on Huntington Drive. And that's the reason why for the recommendation.
Okay. Does that clarify what the request is?
It does, but it would make it very difficult to bring cars into the yard because with the house and the garage, well, we're assuming that we can pull cars just straight in and park, that we don't always have to go into the garage. It's never been like that. I mean, we've always pulled up, and we'll have an automatic gate now. It won't be one where we have to get out of the car and open the gate. But as it was, we would park. We never ended up in the street, but we would, of course, be on the sidewalk for a couple minutes or a minute while we opened the gate up, and then we would pull in. But if that gate is set in 15 feet, that will eliminate some of the space for parking in the garage, and we don't have a long driveway like a regular home. We're right on Huntington Drive. So our only parking is what's available in that backyard.
We understand your concern, and we'll take it into consideration with our recommendation.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the other houses along the street. It seems like the next door neighbors, Mrs. Jones, her gate is right, well, it was, her property and my property were identical, where she has her wall and her gate is right there, right at the wall. It's not really, I don't think it's set back any
Plan on putting it
significant
right where it
difference.
was. We're not changing the location of it.
Yeah, I mean, my whole goal with this project has been to make it seem like nothing was ever done, basically. Same color of house, you know, we are replacing a shed with the garage. It doesn't look like anything has been done to the property in terms of altering the space. Anyway, I'm just surprised because we've tried so hard to make this seem like the house is updated without altering the neighborhood or the look of anything.
We understand. Again, in reviewing some photos of your neighbor's home and the comments from staff, it appears that the neighbor does have inset where a vehicle can pull up past the sidewalk to rest their vehicle while they appears manually open the gate. In this instance, we would take into consideration where that effectively would place your gate in relation to your garage and your structure and see if that would be.
Can I ask you, would you accept any kind of setback, further setback, or I don't know about accept, but would you be amenable to any kind of setback, or does that, in your view, create problems?
Well, I have to say I'm completely surprised by it. I mean, we'll do whatever you want us to do. But I'm just looking at, I guess we'd have to go back and measure, you know, the room for the cars, because unlike a regular property that's got a long driveway, we don't have that. We only have that space.
Excuse me. The one problem I see with it is right now we have a sliding gate that parallels the wall. If we move it back, we can't do that because it'll be the house on one side and the garage on the other. It'll have to be a swing out gate, which means they'll have to stay out in the street until the gate completely opens. Because you can't open it in, because then that would block the garage entrance and you wouldn't be able to close it after the cars are in.
Right.
That's the only problem I see with it.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions for the applicant from committee members? Seeing none, Willa? Committee member Lakon, did you have a question?
For the applicant, sorry.
Sure.
Did you raise the height of the wall from the wall that fell down?
Yes, that was in, when we went through design review the first time, the goal was to add 2 rows of block to the top to bring it up to 6 feet. And so it was already approved that the wall could be 6 feet high. But at that time, I assumed that the wall was stable. I didn't realize that, you know, when we started work on it, that we discovered that the wall was dangerous.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. We'll now move to public comment. If there's any members of the public that like to come forward to speak for, about, or against this project, now's the time. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to committee member discussions. Committee member Banish.
As far as the issue that we were just talking about, I think maybe keeping it where it is might make sense, but I am open to hearing what other committee members think about that and maybe point out other issues. I would like to see, I'm glad to hear that there is a plan to keep the greenery. I think they're olive trees there, I'm not sure exactly, yeah, to keep them there because I think that they add a really desirable element to that side of the property, especially when you're putting a wall up, to have it complemented by some greenery. I would like it to be specified that the wall would be covered in stucco in a color to match the house, and that the condition be to protect the trees in the way that you described when you were presenting to us, as long as that is agreeable to the city arborist. And that's it.
Thank you. Committee member Lakon.
Thank you. I have concerns about visibility with the driveway, and I understand now that the garage is built and that, or maybe it used to be the garage, has been enclosed. Is that correct? I'm sorry.
Yes.
It appears to be a room now. So I see where it's difficult to bring the cars in and to get to angle to turn to the garage. But at the same time, when I think about 6-foot wall and gates right there and the side gate, I'm concerned when I think of people coming out and pedestrians, safety, it's by the schools, and I'm worried that there's not enough visibility and someone could get hurt. And as far as driving and entering the garage without having that area, that pad before the gate, you're left on Huntington, the cars, and it's fast and you're rushed. And it seems like you need that space when you pull off to get off the street. So I don't know the number that makes that work, but that would be something I could approve. I just would be more comfortable with coming in. And a condition also to cover the walls if we need it with ivy and tree protection.
Thank you. Committee member Brody.
Yeah, I don't see where a deeper recess for a driveway gate is applicable here. And I could approve the project with the condition referenced by committee member Joyce on the walls and the approval by the city arborist.
Thank you. Committee member Wall.
I equally agree that a setback of the driveway gate would be impractical or difficult with the turn radius and so forth. And I agree also that with the two conditions mentioned by Commissioner Brody, I can see this.
I understand both concerns of the various committee members. However, given the particulars of the renovation and how the lot is and where the approach is for the motor courtyard in the rear of the home, effectively moving and giving an additional recess into the property for a vehicle to rest while a gate somehow opens, whether it be a swing or whatnot, it would impede the overall operation and function of what the homeowner is trying to accomplish. So in this specific instance, I don't think it's applicable. I share the same feelings as Committee Member Brody. With the other conditions that have been stated, I can support the project as well. Do we have a motion?
Well, I'll make it. I'll move to approve DRC 19-35 with the two conditions. The wall to match as fully stated by Committee Member Joyce, and that the tree protection plan meets muster with the city arborist. Both those things have to happen. And with that, that would be the motion.
Motion made by Committee Member Brody. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Committee Member Banish with a second. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Wong,
Yes.
Committee Member Brody,
Yes.
Committee Member Laycock, Vice Chair Batney,
Yes.
Chair Chang.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to our fourth agenda item of the evening. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair. Item number 4 is located at 2220 Ridgeway Road, DRC case number 19-53. The applicant proposes to install Tilcor steel shake roofing material in the birch color on an existing one-story residence and detached two-car garage. This roofing material is not on the city's pre-approved roofing material list. The project is categorically exempt from CEQA. The Tilcor material is installed on several homes throughout the city as noted in the staff report. And staff finds that the proposed application of this material would be suitable for the existing home as the roof pitch is relatively low and is not highly exposed. There are several other homes improved with various synthetic roof materials within the legal neighborhood, so it would be a compatible selection. If the committee decides to approve this application, staff recommends a condition of approval that the roofing material be installed with low profile roof. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just for the record, Committee Member Sean has recused herself for this agenda item. Are there any questions for staff from committee members? Seeing none, is the applicant present? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Robert Lansford Roofing. Good evening. Representing the homeowner. Lourdes Pack has a wood shake roof that's approximately 16 years old, and it's got several leaks and it's fallen apart. She doesn't want people walking on it. The house directly behind her was roofed a few years ago with cedar-like concrete tile, and several of the tiles were falling off the roof when they were putting it on because it's fairly steep and cracking in her yard. So she does not want cedar-like. So I presented this material to her, and she was very interested and saw the different projects that we've done in the city and wants to put it on the roof. Based on the guidelines for the DRC, I think it meets all the 8 requirements. Fire, wind, and earthquake. It's Class A. It's 130 miles an hour wind resistance warranty. Earthquake safety. It's 150 panels, half the weight of wood shake, a quarter the weight of concrete tile. Structural interior. It's completely walkable. Where wood shake, after about 10 years, it starts to split and crack, and you really can't walk on it. Tile, obviously, you cannot walk on it at all. Ability to dispose of the rain. It's the only material that's truly green. The World Health Organization allows you to drink this right off, rainwater right off the roof. It's the only material that's allowed to do that. Durability, it's got a 50-year warranty. Quality and cost of construction materials is about the same price as cedar-like tile, a little less than wood shake. And then colors and materials are consistent with the match of existing building structure. They come in 2 colors of the wood, weathered wood and then the fresh cut wood.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for the applicant from
Yeah.
staff, from Committee Member Brody?
Can the installation be staggered?
Cannot be staggered. It can only be offset. There's 7 different pickup points where you can take the material and cut it and mix up the pattern, but it cannot be staggered.
And on the 2240 Roanoke Road, is that staggered or not?
No, it's not
So
staggered.
is it offset in any manner? Have you noticed?
Not really, no.
No, I
No,
don't think so.
she didn't want it that
All
way.
right, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Seeing none, we'll now open to public comment. If there's any member of the public who'd like to come forward, please come forward and state your name and address.
My name is Michael Johnson. I live at 1300 Bellhaven Road, San Marino. And you've seen me before because I'm passionate about steel roofs in this town. I want to point out one thing. We talked about this roof being walkable, and you might think, well, we're not going to walk on the roof. But I recently had my house tinted. They were all over my roof. If it had been something in wood or something like that, I'd probably be replacing the roof after the tenant people were there. Also, I'm passionate about earthquakes. This is lightweight. As I pointed out before, if you knew you were going to have an earthquake tonight, you'd be out in the backyard in a tent because you don't want much weight over your head. And the fire protection is something that the city is very interested in because at least the fire chief has told me with the wood roofs, at least a couple of years ago, wood roofs we had in town, for the right conditions, we would have a firestorm. So now there are other fireproof roofs. Wood is not one of them. And but this one has as advantage, again, being lightweight and walkable. I think it looks good too. One of the homes that was not mentioned was the home at corner of Palomar and Cumberland, right across the street from the Catholic Church, the St. Felicitas. It's got one of the longest roofs in town, and you can see the whole thing. And I was holding my breath when that was put on, and it turned out, I thought, very well. I believe it's staggered, is it not? No, I mean, not staggered, but offset.
Yes.
It's offset, so you'll see a little bit how that works. And the owner I've talked to appreciates it very much. She thinks it's a good job. And another one, I've talked to a couple owners that have had their metal roofs on for a while as to whether there's more noise, especially during rains, and they say no. So it's a good material. Yes? Oh, I do like the old shake roofs. I thought they're pretty, but this is a new world. We need a new material. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other members of the public? Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move on to committee member discussions. Committee Member Wall.
I appreciate how much effort has been put to the DRC guidelines to make sure that this is appropriate and given how you described it, and I think we can approve this.
Committee Member Brody.
Yeah, my concern is, does it replicate the look of shake? I think it's, as far as the product is concerned, I looked it up, I don't have any problem with it. I didn't like the Roanoke installation in all frankness, that's why I asked you about it. I think if it was installed offset, I'd have no problem with it. And if that was made a condition, I could approve.
Thank you. Committee Member Bench.
Yeah, I viewed the homes listed and really did not find this to be an appropriate roofing material for this home, nor would I say for most of the homes in the city. The tiles have a very flat appearance and a kind of uniformity that doesn't mimic wood shake enough to be appropriate for the traditional homes in our city. I feel very strongly about this. I think I have seen and approved of materials that are not wood shake that I think mimic that or approximated enough in order to approve them, but this is not one of them for me.
Thank you. Again, we've, in this committee, we've seen this product presented. With each case, it's been exactly that, a case-by-case review of the home, of the slope, of the pitch of the roof, and style of the home. Specific to this project, with my analysis and review, I think this product would be suitable for this home, considering the low ridge of the roof, as well as the location of the home. It actually is a very prominent location in where it's located. However, being that its proximity to a commercial area of the city, I think the uniformity and the style of this particular product actually is compatible with where it is situated in the neighborhood and the local commercial district. So I'd be able to support this project with the condition of the low-profile ridge tiles, as well as committee member Brody stated, an offset. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to approve design review 19-53 with the condition that the installation be an offset installation.
Along with the low-profile ridge?
Correct, I'm sorry, yes.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Committee member Wong with a second. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Wong,
Yes.
Committee Member Brody,
Yes.
Vice Chair Betnich,
No.
Chair Chang,
Yes.
motion carries.
We'll move on to our next agenda item, agenda number 5, staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair. This is design review case number 19-50 for the property located at 705 Winthrop Road. The applicant is requesting to install Certainty Presidential Shake TL in country gray color. This particular product is on the city's pre-approved list. However, one of the prerequisites to using this product is that the home currently needs to have a composition or fiberglass material. And the home currently, and the home and the garage currently has natural wood shake on it. And that is the reason why the product is in front of the committee. Staff is able to make the finding for the color proposed, which is closely matching the natural wood shake color that's on the building. However, staff is unable to support the particular product line that the homeowner wishes to use. Staff recommend the homeowner to consider the Landmark TL product, which is made by the same company. It is the same fiberglass roofing material. This Landmark TL product has been installed in the city and is provided on the first page of your staff report. We do not have any record of the Presidential Shake in TL installed in the city, and that's part of the reason why staff is reluctant to recommend the use of the proposed Presidential Shake TL. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for staff from committee members? Just to confirm, I'm sorry. Committee member Lego.
I have a question. The landmark you said is on these 4 addresses. The one on Lorraine?
Yes.
Lorraine, it has like it's not just a shingle style that's across. It looks kind of more tacky, so I was wondering, is there a different way to look? Or you're sure it's blank?
Yes, it is. It was recently approved by the DRC last year. Yes.
Just to confirm again, that the Presidential Shake that you stated, that it is on the pre-approved list, correct?
Correct.
Are there any other questions? Seeing none, is the applicant present?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. So,
please state your name and address.
My name is James Coop. I live at 705 Winthrop Road. And the reason I came up with this particular material was that it was on your pre-approved list. So I don't know if the city really objects to it. I don't know why to be on the pre-approved list. But be that as it may, I'm willing to live with the Landmark TL. It's more of a shingle look, which is what I have on the roof. It would look like this. This is a simulation. Could you pass that around? Of what the house will look like when it's, this is the Landmark, which is more of a traditional shingle. The other one, which is on the list, and I'm a lawyer, so I just look at the list and I go by, that's what lawyers do. So that's how I got up with, I just went with the top of the line of the presidential TL, but it could be that Eva has a point that this more uniform look with the shingle, which is what I have now, is more appropriate to my residents. So I don't mind being guided by planning.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Questions for the applicant, or committee members?
And I want to tell you what I went through because I think it's very important for you all to know. The roof in San Maria, I've been here for 25 years, so I really appreciate what we're trying to do here, and I really appreciate your service. I was on the Traffic Commission for 16 years, and I know sometimes it's a thankless job. But the bottom line is when I went about trying to, find a roof, for instance, a steel roof, it's not at all. This is a three-dimensional roof I'm doing. I'm doing the triple laminate, so it's like a three-dimensional. It does pretty well mimic it. And, the steel roof to me looks totally, no offense to Mr. Langford, looks totally sterile. And, as far as the other materials, the cement, I'm concerned about the cement, the wood shake. I have a roof that has lasted only 12 years. Because of the plywood and because of the treated shingle, which I know is California building code, it's only lasted 12 years. So I have to put in $40,000 again in 12 years. Thank God my kids are out of college. But anyway, so I'm just saying it's terribly frustrating. I really tried to be, and I've even involved my wife who doesn't like doing these things, trying to find something that everyone would be happy with, the neighbors would be happy with, and I really don't want to make anyone mad at me, but I think maybe we can come up with something. Thanks.
Thank you very much. We'll now move to open public comment. Is there any members of the public who would like to speak for or against this project? Seeing none, we'll close and move to committee member discussions. Committee member Lakon.
Yes, thank you. I like the choice of the roof, and I was trying to find lots of pictures on ranch-style houses, basically the presidential and landmark, and particularly in that color. And at first I wanted to go with the presidential, and I thought that maybe there was something that you knew about it, that you preferred it, because it seems like it's top of the line.
It is the most expensive.
So I thought, maybe they know something that I don't know. But I think that, I know the staff, they suggested that the landmark was more compatible, and after I looked at it for a long, long time, I agree that the landmark is probably more compatible with the neighborhood, so I think I could support it.
Thank you. Committee member Benish.
I came to exactly the same conclusion, and I'm relieved to know that you're open to changing to that material, which is similar enough and addresses some of your concerns.
Thank you. Committee member Brody.
Yeah, presidential has been used significantly throughout this community and with success. A lot of the concerns that I think you have, Jim, have to do with installation. There have been some terrible examples of installation. Then there have been some fabulous installation job that replicates shake quite well. So the focus should be on how you get the individual to install either by offset or by staggering, and someone who has some artistic mentality in approaching this. I can go with either, landmark or presidential, whatever is the consensus for this group.
Thank you. Committee member Wong.
Well, first of all, thank you for studying all the options and really bring your opinion, the family's opinion, a really beautiful roof to the family and the community. I think I appreciate a lot. I can see from the index comparative that the presidential line is 60% heavier than the landmark, and I'm sure you have the structural engineers that will go through all these stuff, right? But as discussed earlier, heavier, house would be low bearing with the structure for those, and we're not here to tell you what you should like or dislike given the guidelines, right? If you are amenable to the landmark, I think that's probably more subtle to the current look of the house. Of course, the presentation is really beautiful, all texture, but maybe not for this kind of more modest home. So in my view, if you are amenable to the landmark version, I can support that.
Thank you. I agree with all the comments that were made. With regards to specifically which style, I'd be amenable to either. It appears that there is a consensus that the landmark would be more suitable and compatible with the existing and the architectural style of the home. So with that being said, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve DRC case 19-50 to approve the landmark TL product on the roof.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Do we, staff, do we specify specifically a color?
Yes.
Then the color?
In country gray.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Committee Member Wong,
Yes.
Committee Member Brody,
Yes.
Committee Member Lakon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Batnij,
Yes.
Chair Chang.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 6, request for project approval extension. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair. This item is a project extension request for DRC case number 17-42, located at 2540 Monterey Road. This project was first approved in December of 2017, and it was for a first and second story addition, a new detached 3-car garage, and exterior modifications. The project was initially submitted for building structural plan check on January 24th, 2018. And plan check was complete, the plans were approved, and the building permit was ready to be issued on June 13 of 2018. The permit was never issued, and both the approved plans and the DRC approval are only valid for a period of 1 year. So the original DRC approval expired on December 2018 and was not renewed at that time. And then the approved plans expired on June 13 of this year. So staff was informed that the property was sold on June 11th, 2019. It's the new owner that is requesting this extension for the project. Staff is unable to recommend approval of the extension request simply because the DRC approval could have been renewed at an earlier time prior to selling the property if the owner didn't have plans to continue the project. Should the DRC decide to grant the 1-year extension, the approval would be extended to December 7, 2019. And the project should be submitted for structural plan check once again, and the permit would have to be issued before December 7th of this year.
Thank you. Are there any questions for staff from committee members? Seeing none, is the applicant present? Please come forward and state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Jeff Lee. I am the project's manager and owner's representative for tonight. My friends are actually from out of the country, and so they weren't really aware of the scheduling, how the process really worked. They were excited to purchase the property, only to find that the approval process was actually expired. And so they intended on starting the project immediately after close of escrow, and are hoping that this be granted. I'm open for any questions.
Are there any questions from committee members? I have a question. So I guess your clients, do you know, or your friends you stated, were they aware of an approved set of plans in anticipation of purchasing the property, regardless of knowing what the expiration date was?
So they knew that the plans were approved, but they weren't aware that it had already expired at that period of time.
It might be more than you know, but did they purchase the home premised upon the fact that there was a set of plans that they wanted to build to?
Yes. And so again, they intended on making it their primary home and their primary residence.
Any other questions for the applicant from committee members? Seeing none, thank you very much. We'll now move to public comment. If there are any members of the public who can speak for or against this project. Seeing none, we'll close public comment and move to committee member discussions. Committee member Wong.
I appreciate all the facts provided. I have reservation on the fact that there's actually a process available in our city. And in any real estate transactions, the broker agents and all those parties involved will have the responsibility to advise the buyers and sellers what needs to be checked out and things like that. And we do have a really good filing system that would make this information available. So if the filing is intended to do what is being presented, there are avenues for that to be done. So I'm very hesitant, despite the good intent that you have presented, Jeff, that we are given an exception, because I'm worried that it could open the floodgate and make the system of our city getting confused.
Thank you. Committee Member Brody?
Yeah, I'd like to see the plans, and the only way to see the plans and review them with the new iteration of this committee is to not grant the one-year project extension. I don't know what was done back then. I don't know what agreements have been reached or whether the plans were acceptable or not. Certainly, if I had a look at them, we may have an entirely different point of view on it. So my thought is not to grant the one-year extension.
Thank you. Committee Member Banish?
Yeah, I agree completely with the comments that were made by the two previous committee members, and I don't have anything to add to it.
Committee Member Lakon?
Thank you. Yes, I also agree with the committee members, and I did look up the property, and the multiple listing did state that the property had approved plans that had recently expired from the city of San Marino. So I feel like between the agent and the buyers. So.
Thank you. I will echo comments made specifically by Committee Member Wong. I think it would set bad precedent if we were to give this extension. There is a process by which the parties, at whatever time they had engaged in an agreement to purchase the home, it would appear would have been sufficient unless it was a 1 or 2 or 3 day escrow, which I highly doubt. But I don't know the facts of the case. But I would state that, with a typical escrow period of 30 days for due diligence, which is 10 to 15, there appears to be adequate time for an extension before the owners had concluded their sale. So I think at this point there is no grounds for an extension. Do we have a motion?
I'll motion it. I propose the application to be denied.
I'll second that.
All right, roll call, please.
Committee Member Wong,
Yes.
Committee Member Brody,
Yes.
Committee Member Lakon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Batney,
Yes.
Chair Chang,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our last agenda item, which is approval of meeting minutes from July 3rd, 2019. Were there any comments, questions, or corrections that anyone noticed? Seeing none, I move that we approve the meeting minutes of July 3rd, 2019. Do we have a second?
Second that.
Committee, Vice Chair Banish, second. Roll call, please.
Committee Member Wong,
Yes.
Committee Member Brody,
I was absent, so what do? I just say no vote, or I'll approve it, sure.
Committee Member Lakon,
Yes.
Vice Chair Batney,
Yes.
Chair Chang,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you.
I could.
We will adjourn, at which time we'll move to open forum. Is there any members of the public for open forum? Seeing none, thank you very much.